Welcome to the Lego room. This is what I have been working on for the past month now, and it's basically done. But one reoccurring theme that you might notice with this whole room tour is that I haven't really used this room at all, so things are definitely going to change, and I'm going to add things, figure out things as this room matures and develops. And now another common thing is that this room is very kind of jankily put together. I basically took all the free stuff that I possibly could and used it, and then basically anything that I had to buy was the cheapest that I could possibly get. Now, one thing that I always get annoyed with, and it may just be me, is that with room tour videos, you never really get like an overview perspective. So I'm going to try and do that now. I'm standing in the very corner of the room, and so this is the view from here. You can see I got a couple of box lights, so I'll just try to do a quick pan of the entire room so you can kind of see what we're touring around here. You can see Mumbo's base there, and all of my storage in the background. So let's start off with this bigger shelf over here. So of course, being the Lego collector that I am, I have to display some of my sets up here. Most of them being of like the space, real life theme. Some of them being Star Wars here and there, the medieval blacksmith, as well as the lunar lander you can see there in the corner. Although I guess that's also a space set. And of course we have the big behemoth, the Millennium Falcon, which just looks absolutely amazing in this corner here. And if you're wondering how I got it at that angle, it's using a stand designed by Efferman, and I'll put a link to it in the description so you guys can build it for yourself if you want to. Now, the majority of the storage here just uses a shelf with these skinny kind of shelving units, and inside are just a bunch of these U-line bins. So I've tried to organize it semi-decently here, although there are a bunch of changes that I would like to make, but that's something down the line. And I do also have a bunch of extra U-line bins in this corner here, so that will help kind of fill out the rest of the shelf as I go along. But essentially all of the bins here just hold bulk items like these 2x6s over here in both blue and light bluish gray, and then we just have a bunch of other parts here, all of them in bulk. And then we get down to what I have, my old storage system, which is still in bags. So this works. I would like to convert everything to bins at some point, but for now I have kind of all the bags sitting at the bottom here. So this just stores all the random parts that I don't really have enough space for to give a separate container for each part. So that's essentially what's going on down on these bottom sections here. And you can see here I have sort of utilized a previous storage system that I had. It's using these Lego bins, and this is basically just parts that I need currently. So these obviously all are parts for building up Mumbo's base and that sort of thing, and it's just kind of helpful to have all the parts that I need in one place. And when I need to take them out and build with them, then I'll do so right behind me. And that's kind of the advantage of using this wall system here, is that I can just grab whatever bins I want and then bring it over to the build site. And so the quote-unquote build site is right behind me here. Obviously we have Mumbo's base currently set up in this location, and I have done quite a lot of work on it. I don't really mind you guys seeing it because it's been a while since the last episode. In fact, actually, how long has it been? What? Really? Over 2 months? Oh boy. So anyways, with the help of this room, we should be able to start building up things a lot quicker as we have the new storage system over there. Now, there's nothing too special with this build area. We have a chair and a couple of desks. Now, I would like to potentially add another desk here, one just like the two that I currently have, because we have the space in this area, and I don't think I have quite enough space to build on here. And now I also found this kind of random side table here, and this is just to hold parts and that sort of thing. Now, one major advantage of using tables versus the floor is that now I can finally sit down and not have any knee cramps and that sort of thing, but also I can attach things onto the table like this sort of thing. So this will be holding the camera, and I'll be able to get like overhead shots and that sort of thing. So this kind of boom arm with the camera mount there will work a lot better than just using the simple tripod on the floor. And we have another boom arm on the other side, and that's for the microphone. So we have a microphone specifically set up for the Lego build area, and so then I can just literally pull it over, record whenever I want to, push it back, and then we have all the space to keep building Lego. And the final advantage of using tables is that the underside is a great place for doggos to nap. As I mentioned in the start of the video, I do have 2 box lights up above there, so that should help light up this entire area quite nicely, and we'll take a look at all of the lighting features that I put in just a little bit later. So swinging over to the right, that's the door we came in. We have a couple of swaggin' sweaters here, so that's pretty epic, as well as a pretty cool looking display on the wall here. And finally, in the corner, this is my little practice corner, so you can see I have my trumpet. I would like to put it up on a wall or something, but for now it resides on the floor. Something cool I do actually have is this Yamaha thing called a silent brass, and basically you plug this mute into the trumpet, makes it a lot quieter, and you can also adjust settings on it so it sounds like you're in different places because you can plug in your headphones in here. So that's something cool where I can practice trumpet without it making a bunch of noise. So that's basically everything on this side of the room, and you guys will never get to know what's inside of that closet, so you can start guessing. Now swinging over to the left from Mumbo's base, I kind of have this empty corner here where I would like to put in sort of one of those white boxes where I can do like unboxings and that sort of thing, so we can have like a nice area to unbox stuff and it just being nicely lit up. So I may try and implement that into this corner, but there's not anything here except for the stand for the box light, as well as this random LED light that I have that actually kind of looks like a lightsaber here. So it's basically an unused corner at the moment. Now just moving slightly further left of that is my main smaller storage system. So I have 4 organizers up on the desk there. Most of these house like the majority and variation of parts. You can also see there is the periodic table of the Lego colors, and above that is Mumbo's Season 7 starter base, as well as Mandalorian helmet and a couple of other sets, including the Omega Chariot. I have also stored a couple of the minifigures like Scar up here, although I do need to find a couple of more plates so I can display them like Mumbo Jumbo here and have them all nicely lined up and not in a big random pile. Now moving down to the organizers, these 2 blue ones hold 1x1s and 1x2s. So essentially I have sorted it both by part and color. So if we look at the top here, we have black, round 1x1s, and then it moves to dark gray, light gray, and then white, and it just slowly moves down and changes into bricks. And then actually in the bigger storage down here, I have 2x2s. But you guys probably aren't really that interested in that. It's basically just organized by part and semi by color. So that's basically what's going on here. And what's going on over here. Although I had to make a couple of exceptions for these bigger bins, and these are basically just parts that I use a lot, like slopes and cheese wedges and that sort of thing, and a couple of snob bricks. And really, I don't know what else to say on organizers. They're basically the same, and they organize my parts. And right down below the table, we have more organizers, because why not? So these hold a couple more bulk parts, one such being these vines that I planned on using, as well as a couple more plants and that sort of thing. I don't really know. It's just kind of random parts that I found enough of to fill up this little storage container here. Now this is probably incredibly boring going through all of my storage here, but basically down here I have unsorted parts and then Bricklink orders that I haven't sorted out into bins yet. We have a bunch of massive plastic bags. Here are just large plates. This is like extra computer stuff, and this is extra recording stuff here. So that's essentially everything down here. I have also stuck in my extra base plates just right in that little crevice there. And in this little drawer, we have a bunch of plastic bags. And now it may not look organized, but I have actually tried to organize it. So on the left side here are smaller bags, and I've actually organized these kind of nicely. And on the right side here are the larger bags. So it's kind of organized, and that's useful for packing up and organizing parts. And then down below are just all the pick-a-brick cups and lids. And finally on the floor is the garbage can. Although I don't really know why you'd want to know about the garbage can, but it's there. And then finally in the room is my kind of Minecraft and editing and basically anything to do with computer setup. So don't look under the desk, there's a massive wires down there, but I have kind of a crappy chair there. And we have 2 really cheap monitors. In fact, they're so cheap that they're free because I just found them in storage. And then we have a crappy MacBook that is just connected to everything here. Again, there is a mess of wires. I would like to clean it up, but I can't really because these old systems use some wacky wire system. So it's the best I've got and it kind of works. And I've also got a pretty good mouse and mouse pad, so it works and it's good enough. But I do know that all of these random wires, especially if I start looking behind, might trigger some people. And finally on the wall here is just kind of a little billboard to display some photos of what I'm working on, as well as some notes of what I'm working on as well. And going back to recording and microphones, I actually have another Yeti microphone here, and this is mainly used for recording Minecraft there. And you may have noticed I do have 2 of the Yeti microphones. The main reason being is because I got one of them, but it broke, so I ordered another one. But then over time, it just seemed to fix itself, so it's working now, and now I have 2. And that actually works quite well because then I can have one specifically for recording Lego, and the other one over there is specifically for recording Minecraft, and I don't have to move the microphone around all over the place. So I think that basically covers all of the physical stuff in this room, but let's take a look at lighting. In this corner, I've set up what I like to call my cozy corner. Another reason being is because there's a vent right above and it blasts down hot air most of the time. But another reason is just because it has some nice warm lighting. And actually in the camera that looks very glary, but in real life it's kind of just a nice sort of diffused light, but for some reason it's glaring quite a bit in the camera. And if I turn off the main light here, that is with just that area lit up. And so you can kind of see why I call it the cozy corner, because it's just kind of a nice corner to do some work without the rest of the room being really lit up at all. And actually, funnily enough, because I think this round circle kind of fits in lighting, you may be wondering what that is. It is actually a clock that displays the time through lights. So that's kind of a cool thing, and it looks kind of cool on the wall there. Although again, cords. They are evil and annoying, but they are necessary to basically run anything, which is annoying, and I suppose the other option is Bluetooth, but that also sucks because you have to connect everything via Bluetooth. And now, of course, I just had to install RGB lights. So we have a couple of light strips there. If the other one would turn on, there we go. So we have one underneath the desk there, so that runs all along kind of like my smaller organizing system. And then I have one that runs all around the larger bin storage system there. And again, for some reason, this camera really does not like the lighting that's going on here, because really the colors that are displayed on this organizer is yellow and green, my YouTube colors, but in this camera it looks like white and a really faded green, so I don't know what's going on there. I've got all of these RGB lights going for me, and obviously you can change the settings so they start doing fade stuff like this and start switching up the colors all over the place. And finally, I don't really know why I'm covering this, but there's a ceiling light. It does have some LED lights in it that change colors, so actually this entire room can become RGB. And finally here, if I turn on the box lights, you can see that this lights up the build area quite nicely, and this is without even the main light on. So it really does do wonders for recording and that sort of thing. And I'm really excited to use these box lights in future videos. And again, you won't really see any of that off camera, as most of the work will be done kind of in this area right there. And by work, I mean recording video. So this is with all the lights on, and as you can see, it's just a really nice wash of light that will help light up every single little crevice and cranny that I am building in, so it won't have like some weird dark shadows and that sort of nonsense. And all of this light is without any of the natural outside light, which also does help quite a fair bit. So I've probably overdone it a little bit with all of this lighting, but honestly it just makes the room look so much better. And I think that basically covers everything, except for I would like to mention one thing, in that you guys may notice that there is a little bit of an echo in this room, so I probably would want to add maybe some sound panels or even just a rug on one of these walls or maybe on a few of the walls, so then it dampens the sound obviously and we have a lot clearer, nicer sound and none of that nonsense echo. So I hope you enjoyed this room tour and leave any thoughts or feedback in the comments. But for now, I really should get back to building Mumbo's Season 8 base, as it has been a while.